Today's story is about a problem solver. She's a fixer, and she's also a revolutionary. I'm not talking Lady Godiva riding through a square protesting taxes while she's naked on a horse. I'm talking about someone who takes a fine line in walking the difference between today's money and tomorrow's tech future. She's an entrepreneur and the starter of a company called FinTech Growth Strategies. She won Advisory Firm of the Year last year in 2019 in Canada, and this is her story.
Welcome to Sipping On Stories, where we take you into the lives of diverse and unique change makers who turn anxiety, fear, and passion into powerful recipes for success. Good stories build insightful connections, but great stories. Now, that's something special. Today's story is one of those stories.
Woo! He's going to have to work out all the kinks afterwards because honestly, I am such a loosey goosey with
I love
this.
it. I love
For
it.
for me, it's about the conversation. I love like cheers, by the way, to your
Cheers.
coffee. Yeah. Oh my God, look at your cup. It's a Shiro cup. All right. I love it. Mine is, a gratuitous Starbucks one, but I love collecting them when I
Oh,
travel
me
around
too.
the world. Do you
Yeah,
too?
I do. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Well, I am so grateful. Thank you, Sue, for spending some time. I want to welcome you and introduce you. This is Sue Britton. We are in the Sipping on Stories Lounge, I'm calling it. And we're going to have just some great conversation today about you. I'm calling the fixer, the problem solver, and the
Mm.
revolutionary woman because I know you're laughing. And I've got a great story that I share in the intro about Melita Benz as a coffee
Mm.
maker and how she invented the filter, the coffee
Yeah.
filter.
Huh.
So this is
Nice.
kind of perfect, and people don't realize like all the kick-ass things that women do. So I'm excited to share your story and just have a little conversation. I know we're probably on a pretty tight timeline. Are we going to 20 minutes? Do you have 20 minutes in here with me? Yeah.
Absolutely. Sure. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Well, let's just jump right in and start from the beginning with you a little bit. And we've written about you on womanscape.com. That'll be coming out shortly. But I want to talk a little bit about how you're almost like an accidental techie. Uh,
Yes.
you got your start in a really serendipitous way, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
Could you share a little bit about how you fell into the tech field and fintech?
Yeah. Sure. um, I was just gonna say, I was watching. Have you watched Becoming?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Watching that, and something made me pull out my iPad and open up my notes and start to try and figure out what my history was to where I got to today. And I actually realized a couple of things. One is I've actually been working for 29 years straight,
Mm.
which is why I'm tired. Um,
I hear you.
and I think, when I look back, when I was 16, and I graduated high school when I was 17, so I was a bit early. When I was 16, my uncle and my grandfather died in about the same month, and I was the last one at home. And my parents were very preoccupied, and it was not, I would say, a great, one of those things that happens when you're
Mm.
in the teenage years. And, my parents, hopefully they don't mind, they were not necessarily having the best time of things. And I kind of was left to my own devices and really didn't have a plan or a path at all. And kind of took my summer job, which was working, at a resort, and turned it into what I thought would be what I wanted to do with my life. And and what I loved about it was, you know, I got my degree, and my degree was in, commerce, not in, working at resorts, but my
Right.
career started to kind of go through that um, in the early days working at hotels and restaurants and things like that. It's how I met my husband. It's how
Mhm.
I, learned how to listen to customers. But there was something missing, and it wasn't complex enough. My dad worked for Xerox and a couple of other companies all of his career, and I was surrounded by, you know, kind of his presence was just in my life and my growing up was so influential. I think
Mhm.
that is sort of how I ended up becoming more interested in something more complex around solving customer problems, and um, and and I was working with uh, Xerox, or I was actually working at a hotel at the time, and the president, or not the local, sort of business leader was
Right.
moving from Toronto to Winnipeg,
Okay.
and I had sort of, you know, broken some rules, which is another, thing
Good
that
thing.
I unfortunately like to do, and put him and his family up in this president's suite,
Right.
and they had a couple of dogs and, two kids, and I got them all set up so that their weekend moving into, this new city, um, like baskets of goodies and dog toys and things like that. And he invited me to come see him after that and offered me a job. And I think that, and all of my clients were insurance companies like, Great West Life and Investors Group and others. So that was kind of my starting story. It's definitely accidental with some maybe, you know, um, a grand
Passion.
plan in the background. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I like that about your story too, and I think it's true. What you're saying is really true. We kind of are the sum of all those little pieces and parts,
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
of which we're aware of that shape us. I think when people pass away, there's something about that too. And,
Hmm.
you really kind of, just saying you sip on a little bit of what they meant to you and you
Yeah.
realize they shape you.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and then the jobs you have, obviously you were in customer service and that's, I'm sure served
Yeah.
you really well. I mean,
Yeah.
you're everything about, fintech growth strategies. Your company is about customer driven, isn't it? It's value.
It is. It's actually really, I mean, it's true. It's really about what customers want.
Right.
And I mean, as companies, we all need to, make money and, you know, um, uh, provide a needed service. And but at the end of the day, we have, I think, to listen to our customers always,
Hmm.
because they'll tell you what they want. And
Right.
if you're able to listen, you won't, and not get, I mean, this is going to be a completely, you know ridiculous statement, but not be totally motivated by what your shareholders are asking of you, or what your bottom line needs to be. Because that's the point. When you start worrying about that more than worrying about what your customers want, that's the point where you start going down the path of potentially no return,
Right.
right?
Right.
And so, yeah.
I hear you. I think it is a fine line. I know you've got a tagline that speaks to that. The idea of, sort of the money, figuring out the money today, but walking in tomorrow's tech. Um,
Yeah.
Anyone in business, honestly, I think you're speaking from the heart, and that's probably why you were FinTech Advisory Company of the Year last year. So, no, seriously, hats off to you. And I'm not going to say doing it as a woman, even though I'm proud of
Oh,
that checklist,
yeah.
because we'll get to that. I think the challenges around that are unique,
Yeah.
but the fact that you see customer value organically from where you've come from and you've built that into the business model, it drives the business model. You're conscious of the money part that, yeah, your doors are going to close if you're not making money. But if
Hmm.
you're offering something real, people they're going to patron you.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
gonna serve them. But I think, I know for me, when in first meeting you, Sue, I was so impressed. I had heard so many amazing descriptions about just the way that you approach business and how humble
You're
and
too kind.
truly you are. And I think the fact that you bring this to fintech, I'm sorry, there's just kind of an interesting irony in this because
Yeah,
I'm going to ask you to put in layman's terms what fintech means, because I think a lot of people are going to go, "Oh, that's great. She's an entrepreneur, head of a company. She's won awards, and she's like a rule breaker." But what the hell is fintech? So
yeah, yeah,
maybe tell us what that is first, and how the value chain thing happens in here.
yeah, yeah. Well, okay. So I'm going to take you back to the first week that we were all sent to work from home in the
Yeah.
pandemic.
Okay.
And some of us maybe, you know, had a full fridge and some of us didn't.
Right.
And none of us really knew what was going on, but we knew we needed to get some groceries, right? And the long lineups at the stores and a lot of people turned to went online, tried to find, use, the various, what they call them, click and collect, right? I'm going to click all the things I want on a grocery store
Right.
online shop, and then I can either go pick it up or have someone like Instacart deliver it.
Hmm.
And all of a sudden, um, that was not, they were overloaded, right?
Yeah.
And so other options started to come to the forefront. And I was just speaking about this, the company called Corner Shop. And Corner Shop is another version of, an Instacart delivery platform.
Okay.
And so back to the layman's terms, you want to buy something
Hmm.
and you can't go in the store and hand somebody cash and get it.
Right.
You want to buy it online. Your ability to do that is the technology
Right.
that enables that financial transaction,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
And the reason why it's such a big deal now is we all now need to really be careful and think about what we want to, you know, how much risk we're willing to take in this
Right.
pandemic. And the more that we can do on our phones and online, and even just by phone,
Right.
the more the better, and all of that is enabled by a technology solution, and
Right.
that's what fintech is.
Right. Okay. So, I mean, it doesn't get much simpler than that. I'm spending
Yeah.
money. I'm
Yep.
using technology to do it.
Yep.
And I want to know, I guess the value chain around that too is it safe? Uh,
Yep.
do I risk somebody coming in, someone that's trolling and going to take my financial information?
Yep.
And then I guess, all the things around the service model of doing it fast, efficiently, cost effective, all those things, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that I do believe that we need to give people choices, and we need to help them understand the risks associated with those choices.
Right.
But I think we need to do that and then leave it up to them. And
Yeah.
again, that's probably a bit of you know,
No.
a uh, motherhood kind of statement. But I think we're living in a world now, and I think this is especially true in Canada, which is unfortunate, and that
Mhm.
people think Canadians are risk averse, right? And they
Right.
they think that we trust our financial institutions, and
Hmm.
we trust our big companies. And at the end of the day, you can only be um, uh, aware of
Hmm. Yeah.
opportunities to use other solutions and the benefits or
Yeah.
possibilities those bring, if there's a way to become aware of them.
Right.
And when you've
Right.
got and so I think that, like, I really believe that there's always a better way.
I love that. That's what I was gonna just drive home there, and I love that not just the better way, but the idea of freedom of choice.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, with COVID right now, we're acutely aware of our lack of freedom to be mobile in the ways that we used to be,
yeah,
to be able
absolutely.
to sit and eat together in the ways that we used to. Some of the former things are gone, and to your point, business is online harder and faster and stronger than ever. So
Hmm.
having new entrants into the market or people that are going to maybe disrupt is a good
Yeah,
segue word, disrupt the current models is really advantageous for all of us.
yeah.
And that's kind of a really fun segue into your, is it pronounced this way? Disrupticons?
Oh,
Disrupticons? Because you've got a podcast. I
yes.
love this.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a,
Yeah, we've got a podcast. It's really fun. I don't take it very seriously. I don't. I think that it is a conversation, and it's not really scripted, and we're not trying to. It's not hard hitting news. But I think what people like about it is, you know, we're we don't have any agenda, and we're just
Mhm.
having a conversation, and some of them are with really, all of them are with really fantastic, smart,
Right.
talented people that have something to say. And I mean, I think we're going to see more and more and more and more of this, of that, of,
Too.
you know it's it's a way for us all to, kind of satisfy that need to learn. And
Connect.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
And
Yeah.
connect, and I think I mean, I love story. I've taken kind of a strange route myself in life, and for
Mhm.
me, story is about, there's something entertaining that happens when you, hear something really good, or you
Mhm.
listen to someone's story and they're doing something really cool, or really different, or they're breaking the rules. We all like
Mhm.
that. I think
Mhm.
secretly we do. And then I think there's something about the learning aspect, and maybe with all the big news that is pushed down, we're so sick and tired of COVID. We're tired,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and they're all important conversations to have. But this is pretty, this is pretty great, I think. And it's the
Yeah.
best we can do right now to stay connected as well in a meaningful way.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I love this about you, Sue. I love that tagline that there's always a better way, in both business and in life. And I want to tap into, just dip our toe into the life part for you, because
Mhm.
you come from a very male bastion, shall we say, sort of banking and finance. It's male
Yeah.
dominant.
Yeah.
So, to whatever extent you're comfortable, can you share a quick little, why you're here now with your own company and doing what you're doing? Was there something in there that was both a challenge and like a, woo, I'm out of here?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, uh I'm going to, not that I'm tearing up or anything.
Okay. Well, that would be good. That makes for good entertainment when people cry.
No, you know what? I
Yeah.
mean, I feel like I'm finally at a stage, I started my company 5 years ago, and I'm finally at a stage now where I'm not either, wanting to, you know, shout from the rooftops, or,
Mhm.
just sort of harbor a whole bunch of, resentment. I think, I mean, so I spent this meandering career that I had, was predominantly working for technology companies, and I guess my customer, service orientation landed me mostly in sales roles or business development, and then ultimately
Okay.
creating product, but for customers. And I worked for some fantastic companies, and but there was always a, sort of, an undertone, that I think I was more resilient to when I was younger,
Okay.
around the fact that I was female. And, um, you know, I mean, when I worked at the Four Seasons, which is one of my first jobs, we were not allowed to wear pants, right? You think back to those days. Yeah.
Wow.
30 years ago. So, And I still remember a boss asking me why I wasn't wearing nylons because my legs were bare. That was a couple of years later.
Yeah.
But but that was a different time. I think in the last, in the 10 years before I started FGS, it was probably my worst 10 years of my career. Not financially, not anything
No.
else, but my worst 10 years in terms of my own development, my health and wellness, my happiness.
Your
And
happiness. Mm.
I mean, if you look at that 10 years, I was promoted and I was working in, gradually more and more challenging roles. But that honestly was um, the time when I really started feeling the difference between, how women were treated and how men were treated
Right.
within a professional environment. And, I think every company suffers from this. I mean, I don't think it wasn't specific to, if you go to my LinkedIn and look at my, last two companies, at the end of
Yeah.
the day, I don't think there's anything unique about that.
Right.
But what it did to me was it sort of destroyed my confidence, and I lost myself. I
Yeah.
lost my, why do I do what I do?
Yeah.
What's my reason for getting out of bed in the morning? And it's amazing. I think we see lots of examples of, and I'll just say, without saying anything, too
Yeah.
sensitive, I
Yeah.
will say that almost all of it came down to this growing abuse of power
Mhm.
between, the people I worked for and myself. And
Right.
this, at the same time as that power grew, my confidence fell. And so that, and there's something in there that,
Mhm.
that is this dependency. You wonder why women put up with certain things. Well, because either, they think that they're not good enough, or
Re
because
They need
you
the
have to pay the
job.
bills. Yeah. You
Yeah.
gotta pay the mortgage. I
Yeah.
mean, my husband stayed home with the kids. I didn't have a choice. And so,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, there was a reason why I finally left. But when I started FGS, I think maybe,
Mm.
and this comes from the people in my life, my husband, who's just been like the most incredible, supportive. I mean, I often say to him, he knows more about my company and the people I work with than I do because he actually listens when I
Yes.
talk.
Yeah. Yeah.
um, but I somehow found a tiny little bit of confidence to start this company,
Yeah.
and then had just amazing people throughout, the first couple of years, help me rebuild my confidence. And like, it's a shame that it it happened, and I'm beyond it, but it shouldn't have to be that way,
Oh,
you know?
and honestly, thank God it happened. I
Yeah,
I
I know.
I honestly, I see this little, like, cross thing, that you're describing, that path where there's a trajectory going up
Yeah,
in your career,
yeah,
because we're not talking, I mean, you were high up within the companies that you worked for, let's be honest, and yet, the higher you climbed, the more this eroded your sense of maybe
yeah,
self-worth and value, that confidence. So, you
yeah,
hit a point there where and I love this, I know we've talked a little bit before, where you said, "You know what? I don't have to take this. You're a fixer. You're a fixer, and
yeah,
you can't fix you,
yeah. Well,
right?
yeah. I mean, they tell you that you're supposed to put the oxygen mask on yourself, and whoever does that, right? Like
And jump out of the
whoever.
plane." No,
Yeah,
you do, and then you jump. Then you jump, which is what you did.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
interesting too how much after the fact, I have 3 children, and
right.
my oldest is married, and my middle son is, in the middle of building a career in the armed forces, and who knows what he'll do with his life. He's engaged, and then my youngest is 19, and
Mm,
they're they don't realize what they've um, taught me since
Mm,
I left
it's
that,
interesting.
period of my life around the things that I was doing that hurt them, right?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Because we bring home all of this stress and the unhappiness, and it affects our relationships. And
Mm-hmm.
so, that is a huge, huge reason why I am so passionate about, hanging on to
To
this
what
company
yeah.
or this path in my life
Yeah.
and not going backwards. Because I mean, maybe I was never meant to be in a big corporate environment. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just don't have I don't think any of us should put up with any kind of
Mm-hmm.
bad treatment, no matter what.
Yeah, yeah. The interview is about you. It's not about me, but I did dip my toe in the insurance world after I graduated from U of T,
Did you?
and
Yeah,
I lasted 3 months.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I saw the people in the mailroom knew more than the supervisors that were asking me, and when you graduate with a
yeah,
degree, they
yeah,
put you in and they think you know more, and you may have experience, but you know what experience is?
yeah,
School. It's academic. It's not life.
yeah,
So I was green, and for me to be telling people, I just right away knew that wasn't the fit for me.
yeah,
But this is what I love about you, that you're unafraid to continue to change, and you have, self-reflection, and there's no hierarchy. And your company is very much about each individual bringing their own thing to the table. That your model of leadership is very it's
mm,
around innovation and valuing thought. I don't know, you've got five, I think you've got five values
yes.
that maybe you can recite for people, because this to me is like the perfect company value system.
Huh, wow.
Yeah, seriously, I really mean it.
I
Yeah.
didn't, I've been through so many big corporate projects, and all respect to the strategy firms out there who help you figure out, your mission, vision, and values. But
Right.
I don't think that I spent more than 5 minutes on it. And it's really rung true all the way along as we've kind of hit bumps in the road. We go back to it, and
Yeah.
my business partner. So my husband now works in the company. He's our chief culture officer,
Amazing.
which is a perfect role for him
Yeah.
because he just makes it his business to look after people and
Right.
make sure that they have everything that they need. But my business partner, who has just been made president of the company, and I'm CEO, is 24 years old, and
Wow.
yeah, and he's a superstar. And but he so I don't know that he would. I can imagine him with his friends, and he's got very wide group of friends talking about the values of the company, and they probably would like laugh at him. But
Yeah.
our values are kindness,
Hmm.
honesty,
Yeah.
respect, professionalism, and entrepreneurism. And all of them come to my consciousness on a weekly basis. Like I know when we've been talking before, you asked me about my tattoos. So,
Oh,
like,
thank God you're going to share. I was like, can I talk about that on this? But they're so authentic. And this is, this. So I want you to talk about this, because to me, they are the metaphor for everything in the value chain and the freedom and the breaking the rules and everything that we need from business leaders, and we need from our politicians and everyone else in the world right now.
yeah, yeah,
Really.
I agree.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, I so this is my freedom tattoo. I don't know if you can see that.
Yes. Yes, I
So
can.
and
Perfect.
so it says
Perfect.
freedom, and there's a bluebird there, and that was you know the purpose of this was to actually keep me grounded and sticking to my path when I
Yes.
started the company, because all of a sudden, and why would this not happen? I mean, it was happening a lot for the last 10 years. I started to experience men in my circles who were telling me that I was less than them. I didn't have, anything intelligent to say. I should be more respectful of them. I mean,
Mhm.
all very, not all men are like this, by the way.
No, no,
That's not what I'm
no.
saying.
Right.
But I think that there's, to me, there's a way that you can be honest and you can be respectful and you
Mhm.
can be kind,
Mhm.
and you don't, whether you're male or female, in the way that you communicate.
Yeah.
That is something that I think generally would make us all happier human beings. I mean,
Agree.
and I think you can do that and also create and run a company.
Yeah.
And so I tattooed freedom to remind me of that. And it's amazing how often I catch a glimpse of this one out of the corner of my eye.
Yeah.
And then the other one was when I had a few bumps, I had, like, along the way with the company, I had people tell me, "Well, you can't be kind. Kind people don't succeed.
Mhm.
You have to be tough." I still
Mhm.
have actually a couple of really important people in my that have helped me, who challenge this, and I keep saying, if kindness can't be part of it, then I don't want it.
Oh,
And
good for you.
so I tattooed this. So it's
Oh.
a heart, and then it's got an arm
Ah.
around it,
Ah.
and it was just a symbol for me that, I think kindness is something that,
Mhm.
showing understanding, being kind in the way that even if it's bad news, you can still be kind. I mean,
Yes.
your job is to, my job is to make sure that my employees get paid and do good work,
Mhm.
but I don't have to be a jackass about it. I can be kind, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so I just feel like, I don't know.
Yeah. It's
It's
important.
it is
Honestly,
it
it
is.
is. And when we hear leaders talk about it and make it accessible,
Yeah.
it's kind of it can become contagious. And yesterday's, "Oh, this is a sign of weakness," can be tomorrow's, "This is a leadership strength."
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just keep breaking the rules. I can't wait to see what the next tattoo is.
Yeah.
I know you're a crazy busy woman. I have this little two things in the takeaway, your advice to people. I think it's already sort of plotted throughout our discussion here about those values and uh just something about the idea of not being afraid to make the change. I think,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, and I mean, believe in yourself.
yeah.
I think there is, in order for you to make the change, you've got to actually have the belief that you'll be okay.
Hmm.
And I think, even if it's just a small amount, like,
Right.
use that little nugget to help you,
Yeah.
kind of.
Yeah.
And I would just say, like, as much as you possibly can, if you're in an environment where you're not, where you don't, I mean, we're not superhuman, we can't change people,
Right.
then go find a place that is more, um, aligned to your values, but believe in yourself, you
Yeah.
know? Believe
That's
that you have good ideas, believe that you have something,
yeah.
to offer, that
Mhm.
whether it's personally or professionally.
Yeah. If you don't value yourself and your own ideas, then no
Yeah.
one else is going to.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I love this. Before we go, if I said, "Hey, Sue, you're happiest when? When are you happiest? Is there one place? Doesn't have to be
I would like to be happiest, chilling, reading a book, but that has never been me. Um,
Okay.
I think I'm happiest when I'm solving
Some
problems.
problems. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I really enjoy doing that. I would rather not do it because I'm in, like, I'm in flight mode.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
in, like,
Gotcha.
I don't want to be, like, running away from
Right.
something, but yeah, I mean, I get right now, I would say there's been maybe in the last 5 years, I can count on one hand how many times I haven't looked forward to getting out of bed to,
Right.
you know, working with the team and our clients and meeting people like you who, I mean,
Amazing.
it was, somewhat of an accident.
It was? Yeah.
And yet, the
Um,
fact that you actually even reached out to me was pretty humbling and amazing. And, this is just kind of what makes the world go around.
Oh,
So,
no. Man, you are my no, no, it's quite the opposite. So, and you know what, Sue, I hope that people will go in and listen to your podcast because, disrupt the cons is yeah, it might just remember the disrupt part. And I
yeah,
think we're embracing the disrupt part and for people not to shy away from this topic because
yeah.
it's the reality of the new world, and I think you are the perfect ambassador
Oh,
for truly for dismantling some of the things that can be kind of scary around tech and around finance.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
thank you for that. I love what you're doing.
thanks, thanks.
I'm really grateful that you think that I,
Rock.
am interesting enough to.
You rock, Sue.
I appreciate
Yeah.
it. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, listen, go and keep revolting and changing
I
and
will.
fixing. And it's been an incredible pleasure to talk to you. Thanks
You
so
too.
much. Yeah,
You
I
too.
really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. All right. Have a great one and we'll talk soon. Okay.
Okay. All right. Take care.
Take care too.
Bye.
Bye, Sue. Wow. All right. Where to begin with that one? Sue is an incredible leader. You heard her humility, the freedom, the tattoos. She's just the perfect example of probably what all of us are going to have to do now. I'm thinking about COVID, about the struggle right now, and the fact that we're having great conversations about racism. We are talking about the economic gap and the disparity. Um, she's the kind of leader I want to see who um, looks at things with fresh eyes. I hope we're going to do that in the world. The takeaway for me that I hope Sue brings to you in that conversation that we had today is how important it is to never be afraid to change what you think, how you see the world, to be open to it, and also to look at life as a value driven opportunity. She is truly an ambassador for that. If I can say anything at all, we are the masters of our own lives. We are the fixers. We are the people that are going to solve the problem. And definitely we need each other to help along the way. But the more that we turn inside and reflect, I mean, you heard her talk about her kids. I've got three girls myself, and our third one maybe was a little bit like Sue. She kind of saw the two older ones doing what they were doing. And she was smart to sort of piggyback off that and not maybe sometimes work too hard. She just understood and she reflected. And she's very much the entrepreneur herself now. But I think that our kids teach us lessons. Our lessons come in unexpected places. I could talk with Sue forever. The coffee would probably turn to a glass of wine and maybe another glass of wine. But again, Sue is the real deal, the real deal. So I cannot wait to have more conversations with women and men like Sue in our Sipping on Stories lounge. So thank you so much, everyone. I hope you like what you heard today. I've got three things for you to take away, and I scribbled a couple of notes. The first one is to hit subscribe if you like the story that you heard. Give us a 5-star rating, and that'll encourage other people to listen too. And also visit our Sipping on Stories website and our womanscape.com website. That is our sister company that tells stories like Sue and game changers, people that are leading positivity. They're leading with light and positivity in the world and they're changing things up. Subscribe to Sue. Let's support her podcast, learn a little bit more. Here's the bottom line. The bottom line is we want you to enjoy life. We want you to live it well. We want you to make every sip of your story count. All of these stories matter. Know that you're loved, that we care about you, and we look forward to seeing you again next time. Take care, everyone. Have a good one, whatever you've got on the docket today. Really hope you make it a great one. Take care. Bye bye.